What if I told you that working full-time, 40 hours a week or more, still isn't enough to survive in Texas anymore? Millions of hardworking people are doing everything right, yet they're barely scraping by. But this crisis isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about time, burnout, and a system quietly draining your energy while distracting you with endless digital noise. Rising rent, grocery bills, and healthcare costs are only part of the story. The bigger threat? Losing control of your focus, your peace of mind, and your health. This isn't just a Texas problem, it's a national warning. In this video, we'll dig into what's really happening and how you can protect your time and sanity.
Across the state of Texas, a quiet crisis is unfolding, one that rarely makes the headlines but affects millions of lives every single day. It's the silent collapse of the working class. And the most devastating part? These are not people who aren't working hard. These are people who are showing up every single day, working full-time, sometimes 50 or 60 hours a week, and still can't afford the basics. Let's break it down. In cities like Austin, Dallas, and Houston, the average rent for a modest one-bedroom apartment ranges from $1,200 to $1,800 per month. Now imagine you're earning $15 an hour, a wage that, not long ago, was considered enough to get by. That comes out to roughly $2,400 a month before taxes. After deductions, you're looking at closer to $2,000. Rent alone eats up over half your income. Add in food, gas, car insurance, phone bills, utilities, maybe childcare, and suddenly you're choosing between paying the electric bill or buying enough groceries to last a week. Now picture a day in the life of someone trying to survive on this wage. They wake up before sunrise, not because they want to, but because they have to beat the traffic to their first job. Maybe they grab a granola bar for breakfast, or maybe they skip it to save money. By 8 a.m., they're on their feet, stocking shelves, cleaning offices, delivering packages, or working the register. There's no luxury of downtime. It's back-to-back work, often without benefits or paid breaks. By late afternoon, they're off to their second gig, maybe driving for Uber or delivering food to people who can afford to order in. They get home close to midnight, too exhausted to cook, too wired to sleep. This is what life looks like for millions across Texas, and it's not sustainable. The cost of living keeps rising, but wages remain stuck in the past. People are doing everything they've been told to do, work hard, stay busy, hustle, and yet they're still falling behind. The American dream in Texas isn't dead, but for the working class, it's on life support. And the scariest part? Most of us don't realize how close we are to that edge ourselves.
We've been sold a myth that if we just work harder, longer, faster, everything will fall into place. Promotions, stability, peace of mind. But for millions of Americans, especially working adults in high-cost areas like Texas, this mindset is doing more harm than good. Because the truth is, the problem isn't laziness. It's a broken system, and working more hours within that system isn't saving anyone. It's burning them out. Let's get one thing clear. Time management isn't failing because people are disorganized. It's failing because people are overburdened. You can't prioritize better when every hour is already spoken for, between jobs, caregiving, side hustles, and digital distractions. We glorify the hustle, the 5 a.m. starts, the late-night grinds, but it's not translating into better outcomes. In fact, research shows the opposite. Studies from the World Health Organization and Stanford University reveal a sharp decline in productivity after about 50 hours of work per week. At 60 hours, efficiency drops so drastically that you're doing more harm than good, not just to your output, but to your health. Overwork is linked to anxiety, depression, high blood pressure, and even early death. So when someone's working 2 jobs and still can't afford groceries, it's not a matter of working smarter. It's a system that's chewing people up and spitting them out. So what's the alternative? Less hustle, more strategy. It starts with reclaiming your time, not just to do more, but to think more clearly. Try working in shorter, focused sprints rather than powering through exhaustion. Embrace methods like the Pomodoro technique, 25 minutes of deep focus followed by 5-minute breaks. Schedule in real rest, not just zoning out on your phone. More importantly, Question the productivity narrative altogether. Ask yourself, productive for what? Are you building something that adds to your life or just surviving the week? The goal shouldn't be to do more for the sake of doing more. It should be to do what matters in a way that doesn't cost your health or sanity. Because in a system designed to keep you running in circles, your greatest act of resistance might just be slowing down and choosing a smarter path forward.
In today's economy, we talk a lot about money, not having enough of it, trying to earn more of it, struggling to make it stretch. But there's another kind of poverty quietly spreading through our lives, time poverty. And one of the biggest culprits, social media. What used to be a fun way to stay connected has turned into an addictive, time-sucking trap. Scrolling through Instagram or TikTok for just 5 minutes easily turns into 45 without you even realizing it. In fact, studies now show the average adult spends over 2 hours a day on social media, more than 700 hours a year. That's nearly a full month gone. And for what? Endless scrolling has quietly become the new smoking. It's socially normalized, instantly gratifying, and deeply addictive. You reach for your phone during your breaks, in line at the store, even while watching TV. But every swipe, every notification drains your focus and disrupts your brain's natural rhythm. It floods your system with dopamine, a quick hit of stimulation, and trains your brain to constantly seek more of it, even if it's shallow and meaningless. In a broken economy, where people are already overwhelmed with work, bills, and uncertainty, this loss of time has real consequences. It impacts mental health by increasing anxiety and feelings of inadequacy, especially when you're constantly comparing your life to someone else's curated highlight reel. It kills productivity by fragmenting your attention and making deep focus feel almost impossible. And believe it or not, it even affects your financial decisions. Constant exposure to ads, influencer lifestyles, and get-rich-quick content creates pressure to spend, subscribe, and buy your way out of stress. So what can you do? Try dopamine budgeting, a method of managing your daily feel-good inputs the same way you'd manage calories or spending. Start by limiting high dopamine, low-value activities like mindless scrolling. Set app timers, use grayscale mode, or delete certain apps for a while. Replace them with healthier sources of stimulation, nature walks, reading, journaling, or even just sitting quietly without a screen. When you reclaim your time, you're not just gaining hours, you're reclaiming your mind. And in a world where your attention is currency, guarding it might be the smartest investment you can make. While the government's official inflation numbers might suggest things are cooling down, everyday Texans know better. You feel it every time you swipe your card at the grocery store, fill up your gas tank, or pay rent. The Consumer Price Index might say inflation is around 3% or 4%, but when you break down the real cost of essential items, the story is very different and far more brutal. Take groceries. A loaf of bread that cost $2 2 years ago, now it's creeping past $3. Eggs doubled in price seemingly overnight. Meat, milk, produce, the basics are turning into luxuries. And don't even start on rent. In cities like Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas, monthly rent has jumped by hundreds of dollars in just the past year or two. The average one-bedroom apartment in many urban areas is now pushing $1,500 or more, and that's without utilities, fees, or parking. Gas prices remain volatile, climbing again just when people think they're finally catching a break. But this isn't just about numbers. It's about what those numbers do to people. It's not just your wallet that's bleeding, it's your energy, your clarity, your ability to focus and plan. When you're constantly worrying about how to cover next month's bills, it's almost impossible to think long-term. Stress becomes your daily companion, your brain shifts into survival mode, constantly calculating what to cut, what to delay, what you can go without. And in that state, productivity tanks, decision fatigue sets in.
You forget appointments, miss deadlines, lose momentum on goals, not because you're careless, but because your mental bandwidth is maxed out. This is the unseen cost of inflation. It's not just the price hikes, it's the psychological toll. It's waking up with a pit in your stomach. It's the exhaustion from making hard choices all day long. It's the way your focus shatters when you open a bill you weren't expecting. And it's happening quietly, invisibly, across kitchens and living rooms in every Texas neighborhood. So while economists debate data points, real people are feeling crushed. And unless we start talking about this hidden layer of inflation, the time and energy tax, we'll keep missing the full picture of what's really draining us. There was a time when the 9-to-5 job was the golden ticket to stability. Work hard, clock in, clock out, collect your paycheck, and life would be manageable. But in today's economy, that structure is falling apart. The harsh truth? A single full-time job is no longer enough to guarantee a modest, secure life, especially in Texas. Let's break it down. Imagine you're earning $20 an hour, which is well above the federal minimum wage and what many consider decent pay. That's about $3,200 a month after taxes. Not bad, right? But now let's do the math. Rent in cities like Austin or Dallas can easily hit $1,500. Add groceries for a family, gas, a car note, insurance, a phone bill, and maybe a medical copay or two. Suddenly, you're in the red before the month is even over. And that's without factoring in savings, debt payments, or unexpected expenses like a flat tire or a trip to urgent care. This is why more and more people, even those with full-time jobs, are turning to side hustles just to stay afloat. But this isn't about glamorizing hustle culture. This is about survival. From driving Uber after work to freelancing online to selling products on Etsy or Facebook Marketplace, Texans are piecing together their incomes like patchwork quilts, not for luxury, but just to cover the basics. Why? Because the 9-to-5 was designed for a different time, a time when one income could support a household. A time when jobs came with pensions, affordable health care, and housing costs that didn't eat up 60% of your paycheck. That time is gone. Today, flexibility and adaptability aren't optional, they're essential. But here's the opportunity. Rethinking your income streams doesn't have to mean burning out. It's about being strategic. Consider skills you already have: writing, organizing, tutoring, crafting, and explore ways to monetize them without sacrificing your sanity. Look into passive income options or remote work that fits into your life, not the other way around. Because in today's economic landscape, the question isn't just where do you work, it's how do you build a life that works for you. The 9-to-5 may be fading, but your options don't have to. When life feels like a constant juggling act between work, bills, family, and just trying to stay afloat, focus becomes one of your most valuable resources. But in a world full of noise, stress, and digital distractions, staying clear-headed isn't easy. The truth is, we're living in an environment that pushes us to burnout. And when the system overwhelms you, you need to simplify your inputs. Let's start with a surprising fact. Focus isn't just about willpower. It's about biology. And the good news? You don't need to rely on expensive supplements or energy drinks to stay sharp. There are simple, science-backed, natural ways to protect your mental clarity, especially when you're under pressure. First, ashwagandha. This ancient adaptogen, used in Ayurvedic medicine, has been shown to reduce cortisol levels, the stress hormone that makes it harder to think clearly and sleep well. Studies suggest that taking ashwagandha regularly can help improve focus, reduce anxiety, and even support better memory. It's not a quick fix, but it's a steady anchor in chaotic times. Next, green tea. Unlike coffee, green tea gives you a smoother, more sustained boost of energy thanks to a compound called L-theanine. It promotes calm alertness, keeping you focused without the jitters or crash. Just 1 or 2 cups a day can sharpen your mental edge, especially during long work hours or side hustle sessions. Then there's deep breathing. Yes, really. Controlled breathing techniques like box breathing or 4-7-8 can lower your heart rate, increase oxygen to your brain, and pull you out of that spiraling stress mode. Just 60 seconds of focused breathing before starting a task can dramatically improve your focus and reduce mental fatigue. Finally, try the Pomodoro method. 25 minutes of focused work followed by a 5-minute break. This technique trains your brain to work in short, high-efficiency bursts while preventing burnout. It's a lifesaver for people juggling multiple jobs, managing a home, or simply struggling to sit still in a world of constant interruptions. In this broken, fast-paced economy, clarity is currency, and your brain, not just your budget, needs protection. These small, natural hacks won't fix the system, but they can help you function better inside it. Because staying focused isn't just about productivity anymore, it's about survival.
In a world where we're constantly pinged, pushed, and pulled by notifications, emails, and endless scrolling, digital minimalism isn't just a lifestyle trend. It's survival. Most people don't realize just how much their focus, energy, and even happiness are being drained by algorithm fatigue. We wake up and reach for our phones before we even take a breath. Then we spend the rest of the day reacting, not creating, not thinking deeply, just reacting to whatever pops up next on our screens. This kind of digital overload creates what researchers call attention residue. Every time you switch from one app to another, from Instagram to email to TikTok, your brain leaves a little bit of itself behind. Over time, this fragments your thinking, kills your productivity, and leaves you mentally exhausted, even if you haven't done anything physically demanding. And it's not just about time. It's about what you're not doing because your attention is constantly hijacked. The quiet moments that used to spark creativity, your deep thought, gone. The mental space you need to make important financial decisions or think strategically about your next move, squeezed out by mindless scrolling and comparison traps. Here's a simple, powerful challenge. Try one scroll-free hour a day. Just one. No social media, no YouTube, no algorithmic content. Use that time for a walk, journaling, reading, cooking, or even doing absolutely nothing. Watch what happens. Within a few days, your mind starts to clear. You begin to notice your own thoughts again. Your anxiety dips. Your ability to focus on what actually matters starts to return. That's the magic of digital minimalism. Not cutting out all technology, but reclaiming control over when and how you engage with it. Try turning off non-essential notifications. Move addictive apps off your home screen. Set screen time limits and stick to them. These small actions can have a massive impact on your mental clarity and energy. Because when you reclaim your digital focus, you're not just cutting back on screen time. You're reclaiming your life, your peace of mind, your sense of purpose. In a system that profits off your distraction, staying focused is a radical act of self-preservation. And it just might be the most powerful move you make all day.
In today's Texas, the traditional hustle has morphed into something far more intense, something many are calling survival mode. It's no longer just about picking up a few extra hours at work or staying late now and then. It's about stringing together multiple jobs, juggling side gigs, and pushing your limits every single day just to stay above water. This isn't the American dream. It's overdrive, and it's wearing people down. Take Maria, a 42-year-old single mom from San Antonio. She works full-time at a hospital during the day and delivers groceries in the evenings. On weekends, she sells handmade crafts at a local market. Her total work week? Over 70 hours. Not because she's ambitious, but because rent went up $400 this year, groceries cost nearly double what they did in 2020, and gas isn't getting any cheaper. Maria hasn't had a full day off in 3 months. She misses dinner with her kids. She falls asleep with her shoes still on. And she's not alone. Or consider James, a warehouse worker in Dallas. His base job pays $18 an hour. Decent, but not enough to cover rent and support his aging parents. So he drives for Lyft after his shift ends. He's usually on the road until 11 p.m., crashes for 5 hours, and starts again. He says the exhaustion feels like a slow drowning. He can't remember the last time he watched a movie without checking delivery requests in the middle of it. These stories are real, they're raw, and they reveal something we often overlook. The true cost of this kind of hustle isn't just physical, it's emotional and deeply human. It's missed birthdays, chronic fatigue, relationships on pause. It's losing touch with your own life while you're busy trying to keep it together. The deeper cost of the new Texas hustle is time. Time with family, time to rest, time to simply be. And when time becomes a luxury, something's seriously broken. We need to stop glorifying constant busyness and start asking harder questions. Who benefits from this level of grind? What are we sacrificing long-term in the name of short-term survival? Because when people are working harder than ever and still falling behind, it's not hustle. It's a warning sign.
In today's Texas, and really across much of America, there's a silent crisis creeping into people's lives. Not just the scarcity of money, but the slow and steady disappearance of time. We often hear about financial pressure, rising rent, sky-high grocery bills, gas prices that make you wince at the pump. But what gets far less attention is how this economic pressure is creating a second kind of poverty, time poverty, and it's just as devastating. Think about it. To make ends meet, people are working longer hours, taking on side gigs, commuting farther just to find affordable housing, and giving up weekends to catch up on tasks they didn't have time for during the week. A full-time job used to be enough. Now, it often just covers the basics, if that. And when you stack a second job or gig work on top of that, suddenly your day is gone. You're not just losing rest or hobbies, you're losing your life. The result? People are trapped in a grind that leaves no room to breathe. And it's not laziness that leads to broken routines or missed deadlines, it's pure exhaustion. When every minute of your day is spoken for, job, commute, side hustle, errands, there's no time left to plan healthy meals, manage finances, exercise, or even just think clearly. Decisions get rushed, corners get cut, and burnout becomes the default. And here's the most painful part. The cycle feeds itself. You're too tired to cook, so you spend more on takeout. You're too overwhelmed to budget, so you miss a payment. You lose sleep to get ahead, and then spend the next day barely functioning. The deeper you fall into time scarcity, the harder it becomes to climb out financially, because clarity and control require energy, and you simply don't have any left. It's a double bind that no amount of productivity hacks can fix. Because when every minute is spent surviving, there's no time left for living. And that's the real crisis. Not just a shortage of dollars, but a shortage of hours. And in a world this fast and unforgiving, reclaiming even a small slice of your time is an act of quiet, powerful resistance. After everything we've unpacked, rising costs, broken systems, time poverty, and burnout, the most important question left is this: what can you actually do about it? Because this isn't about giving up. It's about getting smarter. In a system that seems rigged against everyday people, survival alone is exhausting. But strategic living is how you reclaim some power. Let's start here. You're not alone. One of the most powerful things you can do is stop trying to go it alone. The idea that you have to grind it out by yourself is part of the trap. In reality, smart survival today looks like leaning into community, collaboration, and clarity. Think about co-ops, food co-ops, childcare swaps, community gardens. These are practical ways to lower costs while building support systems. Something as simple as buying staples in bulk with neighbors or cooking together once a week can save real money and real time. It's not just about saving, it's about sharing the burden. There's also time banking, a system where people trade time instead of money. For example, you could help someone with computer work for an hour, and in return, someone else babysits your kids or helps with errands. It's a concept gaining traction in communities that are tired of waiting for broken systems to fix themselves. Local support networks, whether that's a neighborhood WhatsApp group, a church community, or a weekly meetup of single parents, are critical, not just emotionally, but logistically.
Sometimes, just having someone to split a commute with or trade skills with makes all the difference. And beyond that, strategic living means getting clear on what matters most. Not everything can be a priority. Ask yourself, where is my time and energy actually going? Is it helping me move forward or just helping me stay afloat? Because in a system this messy, clarity and community are your survival kit. That doesn't mean you won't struggle, but it means you're not struggling blind and you're not struggling alone. You may not be able to change the system overnight, but you can outsmart it, piece by piece. And that shift from surviving to strategically living is where real power begins. Before you scroll away, pause for a second. If any part of this hit home, drop a comment below and tell us, what's your daily struggle in this system? Your story matters. And hey, we put real heart into these videos. If you felt that, support us with a quick subscribe. Just one click. Don't miss our last video. It's packed with insights you won't hear anywhere else.